Hello and welcome to insightsias. In this session, we'll discuss the science and technology questions of the 2024 prelims paper. Okay. Before discussing with the questions, actually, I'd just like to let you know that uh, the number of questions being asked from the science and technology has been about 9 questions, but there are a few questions where there is little overlapping with the environment section also, in the sense like we have some questions related to distributed energy sources, the biofuels, okay, where these are the areas where we'll be overlapping with the science and technology and the environment also. So here I'll just discuss those questions also which are related to the energy sources, and I'll discuss the questions related to the science and technology also. Okay. This, if I just want you to let you know that how the trend was with respect to this paper. This paper, as such, 2024 paper was a little easier when compared to the previous years. At least if you compare the past 3 years, the 2024 paper has been on an easier side. Apart from that, number of questions were straightforward by nature. They didn't ask much complicated questions, not too much of facts. Okay, and if we talk specifically about the science and technology, it was on the similar lines as the previous trends, where we see that there are few questions from the basic topics, there are few questions from the application based, and there are a few questions which were related to the current affairs. Okay. So here in this session, first I'll discuss the questions, and then I'll let you know that how the paper has been, how it has changed from the past year, and what has been the like how you should approach the science and technology for the future examination. Okay. So before starting, so if you just see the trend over here, you see that over the past decade, you've seen that on an average, the number of questions being asked is about 10 questions. Few times it is more than 10 questions, sometimes it has reached up to 14. This year the number of questions have been 9. Okay, 9 questions have been asked, but if we count the environment section also, where the distributed sources of energy or the biofuels, okay, if you take all these things into consideration, then the number of questions will increase to about 13 to 14 questions. Okay, so here we'll start with the questions. So here the question number indicated here are from the set A paper. Okay, so 27th question of the set A. So all the question numbers are related to the set A. So I'll just discuss the questions. The first question here is, consider the following: battery storage, biomass generators, fuel cells, rooftop solar photovoltaic units. How many of the above are considered distributed energy resources? So here the question is related to distributed energy resources, where they are asking what all are the different types of distributed energy resources. See here the word as such contains the meaning of it, that is distributed energy means the energy is distributed. Here if you take distributed, it will be like spread over different places. It is not spread, here it is like decentralized generation of electricity or power. Earlier we had the trend of generating the power at one place. There was centralized generation of power. So here in the centralized generation of power, we had big thermal power plants. Okay, all the power plants which used to generate electricity, they were big units. Okay, but over the period of time, we have developed technology which has helped us in generating the power based on one's need. Okay, and this kind of decentralized energy resources are called as distributed energy resources. So here, if you just go through the options, you'll see that the first one is battery storage. Obviously, battery storage is a decentralized, okay, or distributed one. You use in your cell phones, the cameras, your home batteries, electric vehicles, all these things are decentralized. The next one is biomass generators. Biomass generators, see, of lately we are hearing about mass production of biogases or biofuels as such. But in the past, you might have heard, during your school times, you would have read that the farmers use the organic waste, especially the cow dung. Okay, you might have heard about the gobar gas. This gobar gas, it is generated from the cow dung, and the pits are made within the farmland itself. So here, this is also a decentralized source of energy. Okay, so nowadays we are setting up the big plants, but as such it has been a decentralized source of energy. The next one is the fuel cells. Fuel cells are also just like batteries, which convert the chemical energy into electrical energy. Okay, so here there is one more question related to the fuel cells, where we will discuss little bit about the fuel cells in that question. The question is related to the hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. Okay, the next one is rooftop solar photovoltaic units. So you can set up your photovoltaic cells at your rooftops itself, that is about on your homes, roof of your homes, or any industrial units or any other place. So again, this is also a decentralized source. So all four are decentralized source, and the answer is all four. Okay, apart from this, there are various other sources. For example, we have the wind. Okay, we have generators, cogeneration of energy, thermal storage, hydroelectric, the small minor one, decentralized one. Okay, and fuel cells. So these are different types of decentralized sources of energy. Okay, now we'll go to the next question. The next question is radioisotope thermoelectric generators. So here, this is a type of generator which uses radioisotopes. Okay, so what is this radioisotope? Okay, before that, what is an isotope? Isotope is nothing but any material which has same atomic number but different mass numbers. The most common one which you might have heard would be that of the hydrogen and the uranium. So generally whenever we talk about isotopes, we talk about the examples, that is hydrogen, that is either 1H1, which is the normal hydrogen, 1H2 deuterium, and 1H3, which is a tritium. Okay, so these are the isotopes of hydrogen. Apart from that, the other one which we regularly study is about the uranium. Uranium 238, uranium 235, and uranium 233. So these are the different isotopes of the uranium. Now like this, we have various isotopes for different elements, and one such isotope here in this question is the plutonium 238. Okay, plutonium 238 is an isotope of the plutonium. It is a radioisotope. Now first I discuss what is isotope. Now what is a radioisotope? Radioisotope is nothing but an element which undergoes radioactivity. That is, it undergoes decaying of those higher masses into lower masses. Okay, that is, here during the decaying process, there is a release of radioactive radiations. You might have heard of those things, that is alpha, beta, and the gamma radiations. So these radiations are released during the radioactivity. So those isotopes which are radioactive by nature are called as radioisotopes, and plutonium is a radioisotope, means it undergoes decaying. It undergoes decaying so that earlier it is unstable heavy nucleus which undergoes decaying to form a stable nucleus. Okay, and during this process, different radiations are released, and even heat is also released. This heat is utilized in these radioisotope thermoelectric generators. So here it is a thermoelectric generator, means heat is utilized here. So these are utilizing the heat generated during the decay and not the nuclear fission reaction. So the statement 1 is incorrect. Okay, so the question itself says radioisotope thermoelectric generator, means heat is used to generate electricity. So during the decay process, heat is generated and that heat is utilized to generate electricity. Okay, and generally these are used on the spacecrafts. Okay, it will be providing energy for a very long duration of time, and one advantage of these kind of generators are that they do not have any moving part. When they do not have any moving part, means it will have the least maintenance. Okay, when you have least maintenance, means its longevity increases. So it will be able to provide electricity for a very long duration of time. Okay, and here generally they are used in the spacecraft, and here the most common isotope which is used for this kind of generators are the plutonium 238. Okay, so plutonium 238 is used. So statement 2 and 3 are correct, whereas the statement 1 is incorrect. Okay, so here the answer is 2 and 3 only. Okay, so the option B, 2 and 3 only. So here if you just can see this is how a radio isotope thermoelectric generator looks like. Okay, the image is not so clear. Okay, so I'll now move on to the next question. The next question is, consider the following statements. Statement 1, giant stars live much longer than dwarf stars. Statement 2, compared to dwarf stars, giant stars have a greater rate of nuclear reaction. So now the question is talking about something called as dwarf stars. The other thing is giant star. What is this dwarf star, giant stars? Okay, dwarf stars are nothing but the small stars. Stars like sun are considered to be dwarf stars. Okay, whereas on the other side we have the giant stars whose size is very big. Okay, they are very large stars. Generally, the dwarf stars, they end up as white or black dwarf, whereas the giant stars, they generally end up as a neutron star or a black hole. Okay, so there is no clear cut differentiation between what a dwarf star is or a giant star is, but generally it is understood that dwarf stars are nothing but the small stars, whereas the giant stars are nothing but the big stars. Okay, now here giant stars live much longer than dwarf stars. And second statement, compared to dwarf stars, giant stars have greater rate of nuclear reaction. Now what is this nuclear reaction? Star as such, the source of energy is nothing but the nuclear fusion reaction. At the core of the star, there will be nuclear fusion reaction which will be taking place, and this is the source of energy. Okay, the greater the reaction, the greater is the light which is generated or the heat which is produced within the stars, and the more brighter the star is. Okay, so now the second statement says that compared to dwarf stars, giant stars have a greater rate of nuclear reaction. Don't you think that here the first statement and the second statement are a little contradictory? First one says that giant stars live much longer than dwarf stars. So how can it live much longer if it is burning more amount of fuel which it has, or the more amount of hydrogen which it has? So if it burns more, means it will die faster also. So it is a general rule that the small stars will be living much longer life, whereas the big stars, their lifespan are very short. Okay, the lifespan of a star depends on the mass. Greater the mass, shorter is the lifespan. Greater is the mass, shorter is the lifespan. If you just see, these are the different stars, sizes of the stars. Okay, so we have brown dwarf. Brown dwarf are nothing but those kind of celestial bodies which have not attained the stage of a star. When I say stage of a star, means stars are one which have their own nuclear fusion reaction which is taking place at the core. But in the brown dwarf, there is no nuclear fusion reaction. The next one we have the red dwarf. They are also small one. Okay, then we have the sun-like stars. Okay, then we have the bigger stars. If you just see bigger stars, here the lifetime of the smaller stars are much more greater than those of the bigger stars. Okay, this is increase in size. As the size increases, the lifetime decreases or the lifespan decreases. In that light, the first statement is incorrect, the second statement is correct. Okay, so here D is the answer. So now let's move on to the next question. The next question is, Which one of the following is synthesized in human body that dilates blood vessels and increased blood flow? So here the answer is nitric oxide. Okay, nitric oxide is synthesized within your blood and it dilates the blood vessel. Okay, generally whenever you go for tests and all, so whenever you get your blood tested, sometimes they even test your nitric oxide. Okay, as you age, the production of this nitric oxide decreases, and because of this there will be blockage in your arteries, and sometimes it could lead to heart attacks. Sometimes it can lead to heart attacks. Of lately, we have seen that number of uh, people, especially young people, are dying of the heart attacks, and it is said to be because of the unhealthy lifestyle which has been followed. Okay, and in that light, number of heart attacks have been taking place. Okay, and in that light, this question might also be linked to that one also, where here it is linked to the production of the nitric oxide. During your youth stage, the production of the nitric oxide will be at 100%, whereas as you age, it will start decreasing. Okay, and where is this nitric oxide produced? It is produced in the inner line of the arteries. The cells which are produced in the inner line, the cells in the inner line of the arteries, they produce the nitric oxide, and these nitric oxide, they help in dilating the blood vessel and improve the flow of the blood within the arteries. Okay, so here the answer is A. The next one is, consider the following activities: identification of narcotics on passengers at airports or in aircraft, monitoring of precipitation, tracking the migration of animals. In how many of the above activities can the radars be used? So here the question is related to the application of radars. Okay, and what is this radar? Radar is nothing but a device which uses radio waves to measure the detect the objects, and they detect the objects by sending the radio waves. When they send the radio waves, the radio waves are transmitted, they touch the target, and the radio waves bounce back. When these radio waves bounce back, that time they are again detected by the radars, and this helps in detection of any object within the range of the radar. So you might have heard in your movies, okay, or in the newspaper and all, where you can see that generally and some unidentified objects are detected by the radars. Okay, no unidentified in the sense, it is not, I'm not talking about the aliens as such. It is just that these are the objects which flow within the radar range, and they have not been informed to the ground authorities. So generally, whenever an aircraft enters into the country, say foreign aircraft enters into the country, they generally inform the respective country saying that, okay, we are using your airspace and we will be passing through this particular route. Okay, and sometimes what happens, say due to some friction between the countries do not inform the other country, and they'll be using their aircraft without letting the other country know. And this is quite common in the case of the China-Taiwan issue, where the Taiwan regularly detects the incoming fighter jets of the Chinese Air Force. Okay, so in this slide, generally we see that these aircrafts are detected, and here the radar are used. This radar, it can also be used to detect the rain, that is precipitation also, because here the water droplets, say radio waves will come, the water droplets will reflect back the radiations, and this will help in identifying that some rain is taking place. Okay, now it can be used to track the migration also. Say animal is moving, okay, if any person is moving within that range, the radio waves will reflect back from those objects. So it will help in identifying, it will help in giving little amount of shape of that particular body, and say that, okay, this could be an animal, this could be an aircraft, based on the shape which has been detected on the radars. Okay, now, so it can be used in detection of or monitoring of precipitation, animals, and it can be used to detect the aircrafts, but it cannot be used to detect the narcotics. So we cannot just by looking or say use the radar and say that okay, there is narcotics which is present on the aircraft. We can just identify whether there is an aircraft, an unidentified aircraft or something like that, but not what is present on that aircraft. Okay, say if I am carrying narcotics on me, if I pass through the airport, you generally see that they do the X-ray scan. They use various kind of detectors which try to detect the narcotics. The most common one is the X-rays, and some chemicals are used to detect the narcotics. Okay, and they do not use the radars. So the radars are not used. Instead, there are different equipments which are used to detect the narcotics. Okay, if the question would have been about the aircrafts as such, then the option would have been right, but we cannot detect whether the person is carrying a narcotics on the aircraft or in the airport. So the first option or first statement is incorrect, whereas the second and third statement are correct statement. So the answer here is only 2. Okay. Now we'll move on to the next question. The next question is, consider the following aircraft. The aircrafts are Rafale, MiG-29 and Tejas Mk-1. How many of the above are considered fifth generation fighter aircraft? The fighter aircraft, they are generally labeled or they are differentiated based on the different generations which we have. The generations are mainly developed or they have been named after the technology being used. Okay, the latest one being the fifth generation one. Okay, in the fifth generation one, they have a very high stealth capability. Advanced stealth technology are present in the fifth generation aircraft, and there are only few countries which have been able to develop these fifth generation aircraft, and they are, one is the F-35, next is the F-22 Raptor. Both are these developed by the USA's Lockheed Martin, which is a private company. We have Su-57 of the Russia, and then we have the J-20 of China. These are the only 4 fighter jets which have fifth generation technology on them. Okay, now there is one more thing over here which has been mentioned, that is advanced medium combat aircraft. India. Okay, now you might be saying that okay, all these are fifth generation. What is this? Recently, the Cabinet Committee on Defense gave the approval to develop the fifth generation fighter jet in the country. And here the name at present being used is Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft. Okay, so in this light, the question has been asked in the examination. So it is a current affairs based question. Okay, where they're asking us which all are the countries or which all are the aircrafts which are fifth generation by nature. So here, if you just see the options, we do not have any of the fifth generation. Here the Rafale and the Tejas are 4.5 generation, and MiG-29 is the 4th gen fighter jet. Hence the answer is D, none. The answer is D, none. Okay, so now we shall move on to the next question. The next question is, in which of the following are hydrogels used? Controlled drug delivery in patients, mobile air conditioning systems, preparation of industrial lubricants. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So here, the hydrogels, they are used in all these 3 situations. One is to deliver the drugs to the patient, second one is air conditioning, and third one is industrial lubricants. So here the answer is 1, 2 and 3, D 1, 2 and 3. Okay. Now what is this hydrogel? Okay, hydrogels, they are nothing but material which has the capability to absorb a large amount of water. Okay, it acts like a living tissue. In this light, It has number of application. The most common application has been in the field of medicine, where it is used to deliver drugs. It is used in developing tissues, various other devices in the medical field. Okay, but it is not only limited to the medical field, it is also used in batteries, energy storage systems, and it is also used in mobile air conditioning systems and industrial lubricants also. Okay, so here the answer is all the above. Though you might search about the hydrogels, you will most commonly find the applications in the medical field itself, but the other areas, it has not been so developed, hence you won't find number of examples in other areas. But hydrogels are used in all the three situations. Okay, so here the answer is D, 1, 2 and 3. The next question is, which one of the following is the exhaust pipe emission from fuel cell electrical vehicles powered by hydrogen? So here the answer is D, water vapor. Okay, what is this fuel cell? Fuel cell is nothing but a device which converts the chemical energy into electrical energy. So here the chemical energy here is nothing but we are using the hydrogen. Along with hydrogen, we use oxygen. Hydrogen plus oxygen, we get H2O plus heat plus electricity. So here we use input, that is hydrogen and oxygen are the input, water is the output along with heat and electricity. This hydrogen fuel cell is used in developing vehicles. Okay, and of lately it has been in news because our transport minister Nitin Gadkari is driving the hydrogen fuel cell, which is the car which is developed by the Toyota. Okay, so I think the name is Mirai. Mirai is a hydrogen fuel cell based car developed by the Toyota. Okay, and many other countries are looking to develop the hydrogen fuel cell based vehicles. Okay, and what are these vehicles? These are just like the electrical vehicles, which where in the normal electrical vehicles we use lithium ion batteries where we store the energy. In hydrogen fuel cell based vehicles, here we have hydrogen fuel cells. We have hydrogen fuel cells which convert the hydrogen. Okay, it has little advantage over the normal lithium ion based battery electrical vehicles. The advantage being that you can refuel hydrogen whenever it gets over and you can start using the vehicle again. Whereas in the lithium ion batteries, you have to charge the vehicle, which generally takes a very long period of time and people have to wait for charging. So in this light, both hydrogen fuel cells and lithium ion batteries are considered to be the future of the automobile sector across the world. Okay, now we shall move on to the next question. The next question is, recently the term pumped storage hydropower is actually and appropriately discussed in the context of which of the following? So pumped storage hydropower, it is nothing but hydroelectricity. What is hydroelectricity? It is long duration energy storage system. It is just a way to generate electricity. And it is no different from the normal, the hydroelectricity which you study. You might have studied in your school times that there is one dam which is present, and from that dam, that is, you have a reservoir. There will be one dam where you pass the water around the turbine. This turbine will rotate and the electricity is generated. Okay, if you can just recall, you might have seen this scene in the Swadesh movie where Shah Rukh Khan tries to generate electricity by pumping water through one turbine. Okay, the same is followed here also. But there is one more thing which is done, that is, here during the lean season when the electricity demand is less, the water is pumped back again to the reservoir and the reservoir will have stored potential energy. So during the lean season, the water will be pumped back, and when there is a demand for electricity, the reservoir will be opened and will be generating the electricity. So here in this slide, we see that we are storing the energy. So it is long duration energy storage. So by pumping back the water to the reservoir, we are storing the potential energy, and once we release the water will start moving, and due to the movement of the water due to gravity, it will rotate the turbine and it will generate the electricity. So here the option C is the right answer. Now we shall move on to the next question. The next question is, it is more of a environment related one, but I'll just explain the technology behind this concept here. Membrane bioreactors are often discussed in the context of, the first option is assisted reproductive technologies, the second option is drug delivery nanotechnology, third option is vaccine production technologies, the fourth option is wastewater treatment technologies. So the right answer here is wastewater treatment technologies. So here in the wastewater treatment technologies, one of the technology is the membrane bioreactors. So while you're studying environment, you might have come across the bioremediation methods. You might have come across bioremediation methods where you see that certain bacteria or certain organisms are used, either fungus, bacteria, different organisms are used to remove the pollutants. The same is done in this case also. Here we have membrane bioreactors. So there are two parts here. There is one is the membrane filter, the other one is the bioreactors. The membrane filter, it filters the water, all the solid particles will be removed, and in the bioreactors there will be bacteria or other organisms which will break down the waste, especially the organic waste which is present in the wastewater will be broken down and it will clean the water. So here the bioreactors, we are using the bacteria, and the membrane is used to filter the solid waste from the water. So here this will help in effective recycling of the wastewater which is generated in the urban areas or various other places. So here D is the right answer. The next question here is, consider the following materials. 1. Agricultural residues. 2. Corn grains. 3. Wastewater treatment sludge. 4. Wood mill waste. So here which of the following can be used as a feedstock for producing sustainable aviation fuel? So here the question is talking about a sustainable aviation fuel. Aviation fuel as such, generally we use gasoline or refined kerosene is used as the aviation fuel. We can generate the gasoline and kerosene by using the biomass, by using the biomass. And the biomass can be either the agricultural residue, corn grains, biomass which is present within the wastewater sludge, or the wood mill waste. So all these are the biomass, and these biomass, from this biomass we can generate or we can derive the biofuels, which are then can be directly used as a fuel. Generally in the initial stages we are mixing certain amount of the biofuel with the aviation fuel to make it little sustainable, and once we have sufficient technology, we'll be completely using 100% biofuels in the airplanes. So this will ensure that we move towards the sustainable fuels in the future. Now so here these are the different sources of the biofuel, sustainable biofuel. One is the seeds and the grasses, municipal waste, agriculture and forest residue, algae, fat, grease, etc., and the organic waste which is produced during the industrial process, or various other waste which is produced during the organic waste which is produced during the industrial processes. So all these are the examples. So here the answer is C. 1, 2, 3 and 4. All the above are the correct answer. Now we shall move on to the next question. The next question is, which one of the following words or phrases is most appropriately used to denote an interoperable network of 3D virtual worlds that can be accessed simultaneously by millions of users who can exert property rights over the virtual items. So here they are just discussing the metaverse. What is this metaverse? Metaverse is nothing but a virtual world or virtual universe. Virtual universe. Okay, and there is not just one universe, there are a number of virtual universe which can be developed. Okay, and in this virtual universe, different people can come together. Different people can come together and they can play a game. Okay, they can interact with each other. As you can see in this one, people are sitting next to each other, but only this person is real. He's using some device which will help him to imagine that, it will help in developing a virtual digital universe where the other people are present within the conference and they can do the conference though they are not present at one place itself. Okay, so this is metaverse. So here the answer is C, metaverse. The next question is operations undertaken by the army towards upliftment of the local population in remote areas to include addressing of their basic needs is called Operation Sadbhavana. Okay, this is an operation which is undertaken by the army to promote welfare activities in the remote areas, especially in the Jammu and Kashmir and the Ladakh region. Okay, so here in the remote villages, they are taking up operations so that they can build confidence among the people. Okay, the next question is which of the following statements about exercise Mitra Shakti 2023 is correct? It is a joint military exercise between India and Bangladesh. It is not Bangladesh, it is Sri Lanka. Second one, it is commenced in Aundh, Pune. That is the right statement. It is a joint response to being counter operations was its goal of this operation. This is also correct. Indian Air Force also took part in this particular operation. So 2, 3 and 4 are correct. So D, option D is the right answer. Statement 1 is incorrect because it is a joint military exercise between India and Sri Lanka. Now you might be wondering what is this you have discussed about the army operations also. I have discussed these army operations because while we are reading the defense sector, we also read the military exercises also. It has been very rare that the UPSC Civil Service Examination has asked any question from the military exercises, but this year we have 2 questions related to the military exercises or the activities taken up by the military for the developmental activities. Okay, so in this slide, this year we have 2 questions, and this signals that in future also we might expect question related to the military exercises or the activities undertaken by the army or the armed forces. Okay, and there was one more question which is too technical, where they discuss about the ranks of the different armed forces, the army, navy and the air force. Okay, it was too technical and you should be aware of the different ranks. Okay, if you know, you can answer, otherwise you can just skip the question in the examination. Okay, now what is the overall analysis? The overall analysis is there are a few basic questions. Okay, for example, we have the nitric oxide question, we have the fuel cell question, where it is pretty straightforward. We have one more, that is stars one. They are pretty straightforward basic questions being asked from the standard textbooks. The next one is application based question. The application is related to biofuels, radars, and few more questions have been asked with respect to the application. The next one is current affairs related one. There are a number of questions which are related to current affairs. Okay, so for example, one I told you, the 5th generation aircraft, it is directly related to the current affairs. The fuel cell one, the Nitin Gadkari's vehicle, it has been in news. Okay, that is also one current affairs related question. Sustainable aviation fuel is also the focus of the Ministry of Civil Aviation. Okay, and the government has actually set up sustainable aviation fuel plants where they will be generating or they will be developing the aviation fuel. So this is also a current affairs based question. we have the radioactive thermoelectric generators. ISRO has signed a deal with various other organizations to develop these radioactive thermoelectric generators. So this is also a current affairs based topic. Okay, so these are few of the topics where the current affairs is directly linked to these question papers. Okay, and apart from this, the other direct current affairs based question are being Operation Sadbhavana and the Operation Mitra Shakti. Okay, so all these things are current affairs related question. Okay, so in this slide, reading newspaper is very important, and whenever any new technology comes up, you should make note of it so that you'll be able to answer the question easily in the examination. Okay, with this, we'll conclude the session here. Thank you very much.